The more you work, the more you realize I probably don't have enough saved for that all-important retirement age era. And it's not too late, and nor is it too early for you to get started in that direction. Morgan D. Hill from Hill & Hill Financial is joining us this morning. Mr. Hill, welcome to the show.
Great to be here.
What's the first mistake most people make when not planning or when planning for their retirement years?
You know, one of the things that we've discovered over the years is this whole concept of estate planning. The very term kind of intimidates people because they go, estate planning. Well, I don't have an estate. I just, have things that are quite simple. And so because of sometimes it can be intimidating, it can be confusing, Chip, a lot of folks just don't take any action at all. And that's a real detriment. And so one of the things that we work to do at our firm is to really uncomplicate, to declutter this whole concept and to make sure it's approachable for the folks retiring.
How do you simplify that?
Yeah, one of the things that we look at estate planning, and when I wrote a book about this topic last year, estate planning in simple terms is just making sure the folks you love get your stuff,
right,
not those you don't. And so we put together a very simple model that I think might be coming up on the screen here shortly, that bottom line, it just says all of us have stuff, Chip.
Right.
We have real property, we have tangible assets, we've got intangible assets. But the key is that different types of assets flow differently depending on who's inheriting those assets, whether it's a surviving spouse, a brother, a sister, a niece, a nephew, a good friend, or an aunt or an uncle. And so that's where we try to define what asset is moving to what person and what are the things that you need to do to make sure that's successful.
What else do you have in the book, which is called, by the way, Building a Better Retirement?
Yeah, years ago, the genesis of the book was when I was a young boy and living in Virginia Beach, Virginia, when my neighbor across the street asked me to put a small roof on a little building that he owned.
Right.
And then we found the roof collapsing, and I learned about load-bearing walls. And so I didn't know about that at the age of 11.
Right.
But the genesis of the book about building a better retirement is there are actually 4 load-bearing walls. We call them pillars. The first is making sure that you don't run out of money, that your investments create income. The second is managing risk, healthcare, longevity. The third is about taxes. Haven't met anybody who wants to pay more.
Sure.
And then the last one is about estate planning to make sure that all the work that you've done, you leave that legacy so that those you love will get it, maybe not those who you don't necessarily love. And that's really the genesis of the book, and one of the chapters goes into great detail about this thing called estate planning.
And again, if you have been putting off taking active steps or action steps towards that end, it's not too late.
You know what? I've discovered, I've been doing this, I've been privileged, that we're in our 18th year as a firm. We're primarily here in the Southeast, Chattanooga and Atlanta, but we've got families and clients all over the nation.
Sure.
It's kind of like exercise. We've discovered that if you're, boy, I'm 70 years old, boy, that's never too late to start a good exercise and nutrition program. It's never too late. Same thing with retirement. When you take a look at beginning, we've had folks in their 50s begin. I've had folks in their 60s. The key is to start, not to say, well, it's too late and then just give up hope. We haven't found really any circumstance where it's hopeless.
Right.
We try to make sure that folks understand their options and that they feel hopeful that they can actually get to retirement and through retirement successfully.
Do you find it infectious once you get somebody on the proper road that they have a light bulb that goes off and they go, I get it?
Yeah, I was just meeting the other day with some folks in our office that are going through some life changes. And we've been talking for years. They're right here in Chattanooga and they're looking at, perhaps moving into more central Tennessee. We've been talking about these goals for a number of years, and then they go, you mean I can actually do it? We're actually going to be able to achieve, and literally their eyes light up, and they have this uncontrollable grin, Chip, that comes out on their face, that they just go, wow. We've been thinking about this for 35 or 40 years, and now we actually get to achieve it. We're thrilled as a firm that we get to be a part of that process. Because some of the folks that we've met, not only we consider clients, but these families we consider friends.
Sure, and you've certainly helped make their retirement years much more comfortable despite the life-changing situations that you were referring to. How do we get a copy of the book, by the way, called Building a Better Retirement?
And I think this might come up on the screen as well, but to share the first 10 callers who dial in, 1-800-887-9647. That's 1-800-887-9647. We'll be happy to send you a complimentary copy of the book. One of the chapters in there is on estate planning, but it covers all of the 4 pillars. And if it makes sense, once you get the book, we have a place where you can go to our website, and there's all sorts of information about how to attend any of our public events. If you want to come in for a complimentary consultation, we're really passionate, Chip, and hopefully this comes across, is that we're honored and privileged to help
Sure.
folks navigate what can sometimes be confusing, but if we can demystify and declutter some of these issues, it helps people have a really good path to say, I can achieve what I've dreamed about.
And half of your job is already done.
Absolutely.
Morgan, thank you. You can get in touch with the folks at Hill & Hill Financial. They're out just off of Lee Highway. Call them at 855-0270. 855-0270. We're back with more of News 12 Now coming up after this.